Alrighty, my name is Chris Winters, and welcome to the Kallzu coaching call. It is, it's 2016, January 7th already. Holy smokes. Year went by super, super fast on that. I don't know if it did for you, but it certainly did for me. And so we have a lot of room for questions today. So I'm going to start off with a new format. I'm going to start a little bit about what's kind of on my mind, how it relates to business and stuff, because I really think what you do in one area of your life, you do it all. You really can't compartmentalize your success. It's my personal number one belief, and why people who usually this time of year, they usually want to lose weight. And if they're just focused purely on losing the weight, um, and they get really focused in on that. They're planning their meals. They're going to the gym. They're doing all that. That's just one aspect of their life. And if they're not also focusing on improving other areas of your life, it's usually not sustainable. And I think that people's success in all areas of life really rarely exceeds their personal growth as a person. And somebody a while ago actually really challenged me on that, which is great. Challenge all you want, and said, "Well, that's not true. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of the majority of CEOs and successful startup companies. The owners have got to be overweight and out of whack." And the fact of the matter is that someone else already did a study like that, and they found out that that's actually not the case. There's always outliners in any study, right? We're talking about the big fat bell curve in the center. Um, the majority of successful business owners are also healthy in a lot of different areas of their life. They may be out of balance, may focus a lot more on one area than the other, but they're not completely out of it. So with that, let's go ahead and get started here. This is kind of a scary topic to me a little bit, and it really covers every aspect of our lives on that end of it. We often think we're really independent in our thinking, and that we're not influenced by others and the people around us. But that's actually not the case at all. And I'm going to share with you some case studies, and then how it applies to possibly your life and your business, and hopefully to improve it on here. This is a study that they did where they brought in these subjects in a room, and every subject at that table in the room there is part of the experiment, except for the second to last person, the gentleman in the white T-shirt. And what you're looking at there is what's shown on the screen, and they're asking the participants to look at the screen and say which line on the left, which one on the right, A, B, or C, is of the same length. And it's fairly obvious it's C, right? C is the same length as the other one. And so they would start with the guy on our far left, who's part of the participant, and he would say, no, it's A. And then the next person down would, they'd say, and so which one do you think is? And the next person would say A, and the third person A, and then the fourth person A. And then once it got down to the fifth person, who's the test subject, the vast majority of the time, they would conform and say, yeah, it's A, even though it's obviously C. And then the last person would just confirm that. And they interviewed these people afterwards, and a lot of them expressed a lot of stress about it. But they would do various studies. They would do this. They just didn't do this one with this group. They do a whole bunch of other type questions that were obviously wrong, but everyone was choosing the wrong answer. So the other person wanted to conform, and so it just got easier and easier to do. They've done so many of the other studies. They're really interesting. One was they have people. They have one test subject, and then everyone else is part of the experiment. There's usually like 5 or 6 of them, and so they're all part of the experiment. And then there's one subject, And they have the one subject get in an elevator. This person's normally getting in an elevator to go whatever floor they normally go in the building, but little do they know that all the people in the elevator are part of the experiment. And when you're in an elevator, which way do you face? You face towards the doors, right? And all the people in the experiment would face towards the back of the elevator, and you'd see the one subject immediately feel, you could see the stress in their face, and they're looking around, and they would immediately start off by just half turning. So they would be halfway between facing front and facing back. And then by the time they get to the next floor and someone else would get on, that other person was also part of the experiment. That person would just get on and just face right flat to the back of the elevator. Then usually by that time, the subject would just full on conform with everybody else. So what I'm talking about is a phenomenon, and it does run in every aspect of our lives, and it's called groupthink. So what is basically groupthink on that? There's a great book out called Groupthink, and I was reading it on my travels and stuff. And basically, what groupthink is that groupthink it's where groups end up making faulty decisions because the group pressures that are within the group. All these people that did the elevator experiment and then did it with the lines, they all felt this pressure, and so because of the group's pressure, it would lead to a deterioration of your actual mental efficiency, your mental functioning. Your reality changes. Your moral judgment changes on here. And really what happens is that a lot of times that people get into groupthink, they also tend to ignore any kind of other alternatives and tend to just kind of take irrational actions, almost dehumanizing other groups. I'll give some examples of that. But really where groupthink comes in is it comes into a concept I've talked about before, which is people are inherently, the way we're all hardwired is that we want to get the most out of the least amount of effort. And it just kind of makes sense, right? We don't go out and seek expending a tremendous amount of energy to receive something of very little benefit. We want to expel the least amount of physical and mental energy and gain the most possible, like resources and food and shelter and stuff like that. And that's a survival mechanism that has served us well, but in this modern era, can work against us in a lot of different ways. And a perfect example of that is when you look at all areas of advertising. When you look at the whole diet pill industry, people know this stuff doesn't work. I mean, when they're rational, when they're not watching the infomercials late at night, where they've got the crowds cheering, they've got people up. This is all part of group mentality, and they see all the flashing examples and the testimonials and stuff. People want to believe it because it's easier to want to believe it. Mentally, it's easier to want to believe that than to be told the truth, which is, you're going to have to change your eating habits. It's not going to be hard. I mean, it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to work out. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to have, you're going to be sore muscles for a while. Foods, rather, the kind of foods you're probably eating are actually very addictive. So to give them up is going to be of great pressure, so on and so forth. Also, just the whole marketers, the whole commercial and marketing industry figured out people fall into groupthink really fast. And if they can just get people into the groupthink, then they're going to sell a whole lot of products on that end of it. And they're selling the cheapest, crummiest products ever. And they give them these really amazing names. I mean, like a Big Mac. I mean, the name is Big Mac, and then you have, I mean, the last time I watched television was back when Michael Jordan was still playing basketball. It was years ago. But anyways, I remember Michael Jordan used to endorse a Big Mac, and I could see this guy with big hands enjoying and smiling eating this Big Mac. But they've done this amazing job of making the cheapest possible food taste the best that it possibly can. I mean, they have the cheapest bun in the entire world. You cannot get it any more low cost than it is. Um, Even their onions, when they ship their onions are actually freeze dried, just like army food. I mean, you're literally eating like army food, because then the onions don't carry as much weight. Um, of course, the meat on that end of it, it's actually technically around 25%. What you would consider like muscle beef. The other is just parts of the cow that have been blended together. Um, but it's the cheapest of the cheap that can possibly can be. And then, of course, what does someone always get with that? You always get a drink. You never just buy a burger. And of course, that drink is water and sucrose, the absolute cheapest ingredients out there. That, I mean, if you've watched what is it, Citizen Corn or King Corn, with the, you can't even eat this corn. This genetically modified corn that they make for sweetener. You just can't eat it fresh. I mean, I remember going to my grandfather's farm, and they had corn. And the great thing was to go out in the field and pick some. When it was ready, it was so sweet and so good. But they come in, and then like they give things like name like Powerade, Powerade, and stuff. And if you just stop and read what's in there, and it's got like usually the Powerades are blue and colored, and they got all these horrible dyes in it that are really bad for you. Again, they're filled with fructose and all kinds of crap in it, but they get you into that group think on that end of it, and they get the whole world into group think. I mean, you go to, I don't even know if this is true these days anymore, but I remember a while back when they opened up McDonald's, realized that the whole group think was spreading throughout the whole world, and getting a piece of this American pie or something, and they had burgers were like you could go out for a burger in Russia, and it was like equivalent to like 20 or 25 US dollars. So it was like fine dining just to go out and experience that, and they do that in everything. I mean, you look at that, you look at Chanel bags, Gucci bags, you look at the Cartel or Carter watches. These Swiss-made watches by some Swiss, fourth generation family making the watches, which are completely outdated today. There's more ways to make accurate watches, but it's group thing. Like, oh wow, that's so nice and stuff. But some of the things that are, you may be thinking about this, going, well, I don't belong to a group. Like, I don't belong to like a work group. Oh, that power just blinked out. I don't belong to like some kind of group or something like that. But actually, you do. The groups that you belong to is maybe the neighborhood that you belong to, the group of friends that you hang around with, your family, your little tribe of your family, your mother, your father, your sisters, your uncles, your aunts, and stuff like this. The television that you go through, that's a group. If you hang out on Facebook a lot, that's another group. All these influence you, and they influence your reality, and they influence what is possible and what's not possible on that end of it. Groupthink has a lot of. There's some other examples that I'm thinking of now. It's Jonestown, and I think it was 1978 in Jonestown, and that was the largest mass suicide in history. It's 909 people, and this guy had built this kind of society. I can't remember where it was, out in the middle of nowhere in the United States, it was a perfect example of group think, he got just like people in that line in that experiment, goes down the line. Well, which one's the same length? A, and then it gets to that person like, A? And the last person, oh yeah, A. And it gets easier and easier to do as they went on with the experiment. And this guy was doing the same thing with his group of, a little over 900 people. And towards the end, he's like, he had convinced everybody that, that Russia was going to go to the war with the United States, and if they left the camp, that it was going to be chaos out in the real world, and we were all just better off to just die anyways. We'd leave a peaceful life. Dying is just like sleeping and all that. And he convinced enough of the people in the group to do this, and then everyone else started doing it too, to the tune of every single person there, 909 people. That's how powerful that is. And you give all kinds of other examples, from Hitler to different wars and stuff like that. But so this does definitely affect what your reality, what you think is possible on that end of it. I don't know if I have a hard time, when we, meet people new or something, they see us traveling with our kids, and it's kind of odd, and, people, they kind of wonder, and they're kind of chatty, and they'll ask what we do, what do you do? How do you, do this kind of stuff? I say, well, I've got an online business. And they kind of look at me like, oh, okay, so you're one of those MLM marketers on that. I gotcha. They got their own little group think about what that's possible and what's that not. I still have uncles and aunts who ask me when I'm gonna come back to the States and get a real job. I mean, they're really concerned about me and my family. They're very concerned about it because that's their group think, and they just think that what I'm doing it's the internet. It's going to go away. It's like it's going to disappear. What you need to do is you need to use your college education to go back and get a good job. Especially my older uncle. He's from he got his engineer degree, and his first job that he got right out of college was from Boeing, and he went to work there his whole life and retired there. On that end of it, but so some things to help you so that you can remove groupthink from your behavior, from your lifestyle. There are other things that are really bad about. I mean, there's so many things about that are bad about groupthink. But anyways, let me just share some things that you can do to help eliminate groupthink, so you can really become a independent thinker, because it's the independent people that disrupt things, that lead a better life, that actually change things in this world. But some things that you want to look on that end of it is that you should really avoid mentally. Even you're by yourself, even if you're by yourself, as long as you're in a society, you're in a group. So whether you're in a physical group or you're just in a society, which you have to be influenced by it, you should really avoid stating anything new or something comes up. You should avoid stating preferences and kind of expectations just like right up front. And people love to do that because people want to get answers really quick. And because they're lazy, they don't want to think about things. So they want to compartmentalize things. They have these certain preferences about these people. Okay, this person's scruffy looking and kind of walks with a shuffle, or is probably unemployed and a bum, and you never know. He may, just sprained his ankle, and he might be, a multimillionaire that just sold his startup club and our startup company, and you just never know these kind of things on this end of it. People who read a lot, okay, and they get away from the mass media and they're reading a lot, are the ones who are most successful at getting away from groupthink on that. So those are two definite things you can do right there. And I just leave you with that you should always be challenging viewpoints everywhere. Challenging. Just sometimes you just got to act like the devil's advocate to yourself just to do it, so you can look at other things, and it helps you better assimilate and look at the world differently. It helps you realize, because otherwise groupthink will tell you what's possible and not possible in your life. on that end of it. I mean, when I told my wife that I was going to um, win this contest and win $50,000 for this weight loss contest, a transformation, she flat out told me I was crazy and I should go do something else. And then obviously that was wrong. Um, and then and then when I told her I wanted to then start this online business and help out local businesses, and then she said, "No, please, just go get a normal job. Don't do this to our family." So you get that kind of pressure everywhere. So don't fall for it. Okay, so we're going to move on to questions and then get your questions ready because we do have some room for questions here. So let me see if I can move this out of the way here for a second. Oops, no, don't do that to me. Oh no, I got a new oh, there we go. You know, do not want to turn, if this webinar somehow turns off, don't hang up on the phone. I'll restart it up right again on here, and I apologize for this. Let me try to escape out of here. There we go. Okay. All right, cool beans. Okay, so question on here. The first one is, when looking at your keyword search data, which factor plays a deciding role? So when you're trying to pick out a niche and you're looking at, keyword planner, which of these factors on here plays a deciding role? And this is a pretty good question on here. Is it more important for the keywords to have searches? Let me get this back up. Is it more important for the keywords to have good search volume, or is it more important to have high cost per click so you can justify charging more? Well, more times than not, if it has a higher cost per click, that's because there's more demand for it, probably because it's a more of a buying keyword. So, for example, if you got a keyword air conditioning versus air conditioning repair is going to cost more. So you're definitely going to put a lot more weight into that rather than just air conditioning, because we don't quite know what someone's searching for. It's not very specific on that end of it. So, or air conditioning installation is going to obviously cost more as a keyword than just plain air conditioning. So yeah, that's definitely a good question, and you really want to be basing your keyword research off of buying keywords. That's not always 100% of the time the case. So how you get around that to kind of test that out is if you typed in air conditioning, and then in another tab you typed in air conditioning repair, and you saw which sites came up. Which sites, what kind of ads came up, paid ads? Which Google 3-pack came up? And which of the sites came up in the organic searches? Are they about 90% the same for each keyword, the results? Then I would definitely include that larger, more generic one in, if that's the case. Because then Google's telling you, Google wants to give the best possible end result. Google's kind of spooky in some ways. I mean, you can be thinking about something and I start to type it in and it's like it already, the suggestions it's giving me, it's like, whoa, how did you know that? So they want to give you the best end result. So that's always a good kind of backup test. So you kind of want to balance the two out. More than likely, it's going to be the higher cost per click on that. Example one, okay, so I already gave the examples there. So example one, searches consistently above 300. One second, sorry about that. Let's get this out of the way. Yeah, that is weird. 1 second here. Okay. I should have tested out my computer before I got on here. So anyways, let me go back to this. Okay, so alrighty. When I do a Google search to see who's ranking in some cities, and maybe you guys can see the screen, but I can't. I have things in the way that you can't see. I apologize for this. I'm not familiar with this new device I'm on right now. Let me try this. Get that out of the way because I can't see and it's not moving. Wouldn't be exciting unless we had some technical difficulties. Now my computer's cranking. Okay, that's good. And I don't have. Okay. Let me reopen that back up. Good thing there was only 2 more questions there. There we go. We're back up there. Alrighty. Now we're back up and going. Okay, we should be good here. So when I do a Google search to see who's ranking in some cities, I get niche specific directories, sites ranking with the odd normal websites. Should I stay away from these because they will be too much effort to rank? You should treat the other sites that come on there specific directories, just like you would any other site. And just how I explain in the course. Take look at the Majestic backlinks, look at the trust flow on that, and take it from there. You'd be hard pressed to find a niche these days that doesn't have some kind of specific directory or directory on page 1. The only ones that are really tough on here is going to be, and I've seen this in a few niches, is where somebody has taken their Yelp page. They've done a really good job of getting a lot of reviews and consistent, regular reviews, not like 100 in 1 month and then never get any more. And they're tossing backlinks right at their Yelp page. And I see the people do that. The people who do that are ranking number 1. And those that have some really good backlinks to it would be pretty hard to beat. But there's more than one spot on page 1. I mean, it's okay. It's all right. Don't worry about it. You're going to also be very hard pressed to find, niches that are worth being in that are super duper easy. Obviously, there's some really hard ones, like DOI attorney, accident attorney, stuff like that. Those are going to be very, very challenging to do. I would recommend you avoid those. But directories, get them on there. You treat them just like any other page. What do they look like? More than likely, what you've got on most pages is you've got if Google doesn't have a whole lot of choices to give, then they start putting like a Yelp listing, but it's not a single listing. It's like 10 or 20 listings of a particular niche. No one's backlinking those or nothing. That's just because Google doesn't have anything better to show. Those are really easy to beat out. It's the people who take the Yelp listings and focus on getting reviews for that Yelp and then start sending backlinks to that Yelp listing. Those are the ones that can be a little bit of a challenge. Do you advocate using press release? You can. There's definitely nothing wrong with it if you're in a little bit more competitive niche. Although the niches, the niche reviews that we've done for everybody, I'm the one who reviews them, and then for their final city and niche that they get into, we provide the Majestic backlink profile for the top 3 websites in their city for their main keywords. And what I'm seeing there, in 100% of the time, is that first ranking top site, maybe got a trust flow of 15 or 20 and quite a few backlinks. But then position number 2 and 3 is like nothing. Trust flow is 0. Trust flow of 2, 5, a few dinky links here and there. So don't just look at position 1 and go, It's too hard, can't get in there. You want to also think long term on this, not short term. You're building an asset here. When you take a look at some of these other master sites out there, from other kind of franchise businesses and stuff like this, or even some of the directories, they've been around for a few years. They're constantly building them. They're in every city. These sites, you understand, are worth millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? That's the mentality you want to get into. You want to start thinking, oh no, I'm not just building, a site to rank in a couple of cities, so I can supplement my income, get a few extra $1,000. I mean, get way beyond that thinking, way beyond that. And then start thinking how you can you're going to grow your site out, your lead gen site out, into every major city in the world. And when you start ranking on page one, when I say page one, don't hear number one. I just said page one, for 5, 6, 7 cities. And it takes a while to do that. You got to gain a lot of trust with Google to do that. There's every niche is going to be different, but there's a tipping point at some point. At some point, you've started to create kind of an authority site, and it's pretty darn easy to start ranking after that because you've already got a nice, good, trusted kind of monster site going on. This is what you want to be going for on here. And then some people we get some questions that come in. They're like, I'm finding niches, but the most I can charge, I'm looking at is, I'm thinking maybe $20 per lead based on blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking that's probably about right. Maybe even less, like $17 or something on that end of it. And they're like, I found a whole bunch of niches like those, and they all fit the other criteria, but it's just too low for me. And my response is, well, let's see. I mean, if you were in 40 cities, and each city was delivering 10 leads a day, and you were just selling those leads at $15, that's $6,000 a day. Okay, that's $2 million a year. Okay, so you gotta think, www, the World Wide Web here. Don't just think Houston, okay, or Toronto. You gotta get out and expand these things and stuff. So. Okay, I think that was the last question. Yep, okay, now we're going to group. So let me escape out of this without turning this thing off and find my question box. Now I lost my question box. Yeah, I'm fumbling around here. That's okay. Let's get this out of the way. And, that is just weird. I'm not able to open up the question box. Hang on one second. That's not it. Maybe I've given myself some kind of... none of the commands are working on me for this, for some reason. Okay, not good. What did that do? No, maybe it's down here. What's this? Oh, maybe I need to cancel that. Okay. Now that works. Alright, sorry. Maybe it's not over with yet. Now I have to learn how to expand this out. Maybe you're probably thinking yourself, how can this guy even walk and talk at the same time? Okay, so I got the question box open. Here we go. Is this the first coaching call? No. This is like number 5 or 6 on that. All the rest of them are recorded in the members area at Kallzu.biz, B-I-Z. Okay. Audio is going in and out. I apologize for that. We got the recording here. Bandwidth is going out. I apologize for that. social acceptance. May we understand what this is about. I was thinking it was about your programs. Sorry, Patrick, maybe we're not the right kind of people on here, but yeah, this is about a coaching call, obviously, and I think I expressed that in the beginning, but if you're not jiving with it, it's not the place for you. Yeah, go to where it's not indicating the recording because I don't record off of there. I record off of ScreenFlow, which is right up there. No wonder McDonald's is doing so poorly lately. Churches and religions definitely can tend to fall into groupthink. Oh, that was South Africa, Jonestown. That's right. Okay, cool. Thank you. Forgot to mention Obama. Yes. Okay, good stuff. Last time on television was 1989. I think that's about what I did too. Maybe mid-90s. Okay. Saw the huge potential to help out local businesses. That's exactly right. Identified the need and had the idea and will help local businesses long before it became popular. Yes. Question. Okay, here we go. Well, best way to do a remote manual Google search, i.e. display the search results for the local business in the London suburbs when you're consulting and ranking the businesses from New Zealand. In the training, what is it? It's in module 1, and it's underneath one of the videos. And some of the videos we've got kind of things you can expand out. You press it and it expands out. And there is a code in there that you copy and paste into your browser, and it allows you to it's made by Google. It allows you to select which Google you want to search in, what city in the world, and then it shows those results. So take a look at that inside the training area. It's a really long, like 000 blah blah blah. So I don't have it memorized, but it's there. That will help you out. The other thing too is when you're doing your searches, you can also yeah, that's probably going to be the best way from another country. So I would check that out. Okay. If cost per click is low, but the cost for service is decent, I guess decent would be a little bit higher than low, could we justify charging more than 4 times? I've seen decent keywords that have 1 or 2 costs per click, but the service starts at 50 to 60. How do we approach them with a $20 cost per lead, or should we? It's a good question. I mean, really the best, look, you're not going to know for sure 100% until you actually enter the market space. So how do you enter the market space? When you enter it in, you have to enter it with a good educated guess. And the educated guess is going to look something like this. Not all niches are going to be like this, but this is a good way to start in. You're going to come in and you're going to say, okay, for a phone call, I'm going to charge, let's say, $10. Okay, and let's say that you send over 10 calls. Okay, and out of those 10 calls, they were only able to close 3 of them. So they had to pay you $100, but out of the 10 calls, they closed 3. So 3 became customers on that. And each of the customers, they gross, not net, 50 on that. So that was 150 gross they made. They had to pay you a hard cost of 100. That leaves a $50 margin on the table for them, which is not all profit, right? That may not work. That may not work. So you may have to, in that situation, you may have to lower it down, or it might be in a niche that it's kind of an urgency, a little bit more of an urgency type niche, where the closing ratio would be a little bit higher. So if they were now, they're closing 50% of your qualified leads, and they're paying $10 a piece, and now they closed 5 at 50. Now they made 250, and they had to pay you $100. That works out, right? I pay you $100, and you give me back, a net profit of, or you give me $200. you would do that transaction all day long. So that's what you kind of look at. And when you start kind of doing that kind of math, if the numbers that you could cost that you think you could charge per call start to look kind of low, remember the example that I just gave earlier, and that is really start to think about this. What if you had this in 25 cities? Then in 25 cities every day you had 5 leads coming in, and you were able to charge $10 a piece. That would change your life. You would have $1 million website at that point. So. Can you repeat those numbers times the lead? I think I did twice, so if I didn't, just ask me again. How many cities? I mean, in the U.S., I always encourage everybody to start in the U.S. And we get some people from Australia and UK, and they just don't have the numbers down there. Yeah, you can get into 3 or 4 or 5 cities, but to me, it would just look a lot more attractive to build out a website and do all that work, and and be able to have it in 20 cities, in 40 cities, rather than just 5 or 6, because just purely by the limitation of size, you're not going to have necessarily the ability in the UK or in Australia to have obviously 20 cities that can have the kind of search volume that you need. That's just not going to be possible on that. So I would encourage a lot of people, no matter where you are in the world, to start in the U.S. It's the largest marketplace. So you want me to? I think I repeated the numbers. I'll do it again, but I'll need to see the question again because I think I repeated it twice. Yeah, think franchise. Exactly. Think franchise. Think size. Think scale. That's the way you want to do. You're in the media business. I mean, you're selling media. You've got your own source of customer media on this end of it. So that's really what you're in. Okay. Are you talking about building a directory of all your lead gen sites in different niches and cities and subdomains in one main directory or domain? No, but that's a whole nother topic. But no, we're talking about building a master site where you've got a lead gen site, a plumber site, and an electrician site, whatever your niche is. Paintless dent repair niche. You've got that, and you're selling the phone calls and the leads with that. Do you need to click on the blue tab in the right of your screen? Probably, Ben. It's probably what I needed to do, but I got to figure it out. But I appreciate your help. Try to understand your point. Okay. Uh-oh, I'm not making a good point here. What are we learning? Patrick is really upset here. Patrick, sorry if you don't get it. Patrick's confused. I've made him confused. We went from groupthink to confused, and he's like, what the hell's going on here? Is it okay to use a junk URL to build tweak site, then clone it to a lead gen URL via Backup Buddy? I wouldn't do that. On that, I wouldn't do that. I would just start out just the straight up way, nice and clean, just how I teach in the course. Your first site that's going to come out. This is after you've gone through all of the research on here, and I understand that the research in the beginning to find a good niche is a lot of work. But the people who've gone through it have, in private, many of them have thanked me on the back end. They said, "Wow, I've never done so much work. I really," and it shows because I got all this data on here, and they noticed they'd never worked so hard at something. I'm not selling the pill to get lose 50 pounds, in 30 days. That's not what I'm selling. I'm selling reality, and stuff. But if you've gone through that, and then now you know your niche, then the next thing is when you're building out your site, and when I go through all that, how you do that, you're starting out with your master site, your first city. You want to start out with you want to have this done as quickly as humanly possible. You want to have your homepage, your disclaimers, all the areas that we go over, your contact us, and your 5 service posts. Boom, you want to have those up as quickly as possible. Have your get your Google webmaster tool with your Gmail account, which is something I want to talk about later. Is getting the verified Gmail account, and then asking Google to crawl and index your pages to get them indexed, which is the quickest, fastest way to get your site indexed. By the way, people come up with all these crazy ways of pinging, and sending all these automated social bookmarkings. Just ask Google to crawl it. 4 days later, it's indexed, or less. 2 days later, it's indexed, and it's the right way to do it. Just ask father or mother of Google to do it on that. Is there an SEO disadvantage for unlinking logos to the original city or homepage? There's unlinking. I think you mean linking, right? So is there what you're asking on here, I believe, on that is there an SEO disadvantage for unlinking logos to original city homepage? I'm not quite sure I understand that. So if you want to rephrase that question, I'll grab it again. Yeah, Tony Grant, definitely giving a big shout out to the guys in the Facebook group. They're massive help. Yeah, we have some really good members in our Facebook group. I'm a student. I'm always a student, always learning, and together as a group, some people figured out some really challenging stuff that we had going on there, which is fantastic. Kevin, that was Kallzu, Kallzu.biz, B-I-Z. If you're not familiar with it, means you're probably not a member on that. But if you're interested in that, you should probably contact our support.kallzu, Kallzu.com. No, I'm confusing a lot of people here. No, this is not a. This is an ongoing weekly webinar. That's what this is. Okay. Can you explain how to set up a Google Plus without setting up my Google business page? When I try to set up Google Plus, it sends me to my Google business page. You want to set up your My Google business page. We're not quite there in the course. We're just about there. We're just kind of moving along as the group, and most of the group is now just getting to the point to where they're just finishing up their sites and they're starting to get local backlinks. And I'm talking about if you're starting out in Houston with a niche and you're in the plumbing niche, you're actually getting quality backlinks from Houston in the plumbing niche. Some of the most powerful backlinks you can possibly get. That's exactly what Google wants to see. Meanwhile, you've got a Houston IP address, you've got a phone verified Gmail account from the Houston area, and everything's there locally. Google just loves that kind of stuff on that. And then at that point, then we start to build that kind of stuff out on that. But that's how we build that out. You use your same address, all your phone number from your Kallzu account and all that stuff. I have an old domain, 24mysite.city exact match domain that is ranking 4 on page 1 for a keyword. Okay, I can use this domain, change the brand to something less spammy, and build out other sites. Yeah, you certainly can. Absolutely. It's not that exact match domains don't work. You'll see them ranking all over the place. You did enough research, you're going to find them all over the place. But what's happening, and Google's very clear about this. They're changing towards branding, and when your brand name is your main keyword, and you start sending backlinks to it, it becomes, with your brand name, it becomes super spammy. So if you're going to do something like that, I'd go over in detail and this is all based off of when you study other websites that have high trust authority that are ranking highly in many, many, many cities, and you look at their backlink index, and we're just mirroring those. We're not mirroring what someone else said. We're mirroring the data. Okay, it's a huge difference there. We're mirroring the data, and the data is pretty clear on that. Is that and Google's even come out and said it when Matt has that they're really looking for branding of that. So if you've got an exact match domain you've had for a while, it's already on page 4. I'd go ahead and build that thing out. It's already got trust. You're on page 1 with it, and I would start to build it out. It's just that I wouldn't follow my advice at that point. And if you're, let's just say that your domain name was your exact match keyword, that would be your brand name typically. And I wouldn't have 50% of your backlinks, your brand name, when your brand name is your keyword. That's way too spammy. Then I would either keep the domain name that you've got, and I think what you're suggesting is change it to something brandable. If it's emergency dentist, for example, then you might want to change the brand name to 24-hour tooth doctor. That's a good brand name, right? And that's not spammy at all, because that's not a keyword. But you want at least 50% of your links to be your branding. And then when we get into the crowdsourcing, that's in module 6. This is super powerful. We have people real people from local IP addresses that will go to Google and search for your brand. Google loves that. They search for your brand. They go find your site. They stay on your site for 2 or 3 minutes. They click around your site, and then they're done searching, which tells Google, whoa, wait a minute. Who's this brand? Who's this site? This person clicked around a lot, and now they're done searching. It must have answered their question for an emergency dentist. Do that a few times, plus some good local backlinks, make it all look natural. You're gonna absolutely crush it. Your competition will not know what happened. Whereas typically what happens is people are like, well, I'm going to rank this for, emergency dentist. My main backlink is emergency dentist. They're all, they're not even indexed or pretty close to not indexed. Maybe they're on page 10 or 12. And all of a sudden, they're cranking out 2 to 3 backlinks using a lot of keywords per week, but they're all the way back on page 10. It makes no sense because there's no traffic there. You have more backlinks than you do people searching for your site. That's impossible. Okay, that's absolutely impossible. So when we use the crowd search, then we're able to balance that out. We've got real local people searching for your keyword, searching for your brand name, spending time on your site, getting off of your site, doing a little bit of repost about yours, maybe a little bit of posting about you on their real Facebook accounts. These are not, these are real people in locally, not someone in Bangladesh, right? Okay. This is how this is the game we play today. On that. So I've noticed that the search results for niche keywords that do not contain the city name return very generic results that are completely different from the niche plus city. Yeah, that's if you're searching. Yeah. If you're not in a, if you don't have a Houston IP address, and you're searching for, and you just type in emergency dentist, you're probably going to get something that's very strange, whatever's to your area. But if you type in that plus a city name, then you're probably going to get very specific results. But what really matters in that is that when you go into the keyword planner tool, and the keyword planner tool, you go and you specifically enter the area as Houston, then the results, the search results are going to show true for that. Okay. Um, and then if you also, it's not 100% accurate. Although if you do go back into module 1, um, I made 2 extra videos kind of going over this kind of stuff, because some people get kind of confused about that. And then I compared 3 results. I compared a result using the Google AdWords tool for local results. You get to hear what would the results look like for locally. I do that in one screen. In the second screen, I do my IP address, which is I think in Spain at the time when I recorded it. And then a third one, I used a local IP address. And I show you the 3 results. All 3 are pretty close by about, maybe they're off by about 15 to 20%, but they're pretty darn close. And that's the best we can do. And you don't need to have a IP address for every city that you go to, okay? If Google tells you that there's 400 searches in the Houston area, which you've selected the Houston area, for the word emergency dentist, then that's good. And it tells you that there's 300 searches for emergency dentist Houston, and you search emergency dentist Houston. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, that's going to show up pretty close to what the local results are. And when you just type in the other one, it's not. And when you use the Google AdWords tool to show up local searches for that keyword, that's going to show up some kind of weird stuff too. I go through that in the video. Those are the tools that we have. Okay, cool. Okay. Would you walk through the sequence of getting a website, specifically the registration details. Then after you get the domain set up with the Gmail account correctly. Okay, so that's a good question, Rick. There is some confusion around that. First of all, the sequence on here, as far as the websites, registration deals, all that kind of stuff, the first thing you want to do, and you don't need to be kind of hyperly concerned about it, but after you've created a separate Firefox profile and you've got an IP address for the city or the state that you're going to start in, at that point it's a good idea to get a Gmail account. And just today in the forums, big shout out to, I think it's Chris Morris. If I misplaced that, I'm sorry, I did recognize you in the Facebook forum. People have been having problems getting their Gmail accounts verified. He's apparently looked like he's found a solution because others are able to repeat it as well. So take a look at that in the Facebook group. It's good stuff. We've also offered a solution, but we're going to test out what he's doing as well. So ideally, you want to get a Gmail account, and if you're using the fresh IPA to address locally, and you've cleaned out your cache cookies, there's nothing suspicious, so it looks like a brand new site to Google, and you get a Gmail account, which is that's normal, and what appears to be working right now is when you fill out that information, you want to fill it out with the profile that you're going to be using forever. This is a virtual person who's got a business and is going to be opening up a lot of them, so you want to think of it that way. So you want to have a name and stuff like that, and a birth date and stuff. And you fill out the Gmail account like that, but just don't fill out the phone number when you're setting it up. And as long as you got clean IP addresses, and Google's not seeing that you're changing IP addresses and all that kind of stuff, they're going to be fine with it, and they're just going to give you, without verification, a Gmail account. And then you go back later, enter in a phone number, and now you're using a Kallzu/Twilio number locally to verify it, and apparently it's working. So now you have a nice, good Gmail account, which preferably has a Gmail name that's as close to your branding as you can get. So if you're the 24-hour tooth doctor, you want to try to fill out and see if 24-hour tooth doctor at gmail.com is available. If it's not, get something that's really close to it. 24-hour tooth doctor 123, or something like that, or the birth date, your birth date that your virtual person has, and that's good enough. And then everything's becoming congruent. It's about congruency. That's the word, congruency. You have a local IP address. You have a branding of a business. You're getting a Gmail account like this, and then at that point, every time you log in to your profile with your IP address, you should also automatically be logged into your Gmail account. Why? Because we want Google to track everything that you're doing on that. So then when you go to check out your site, you start to build your site, that's what you do. Now, some people are getting kind of, they're getting to, people like to be black and white. So some people are getting black and white about this. Like, oh, I can never visit my site unless I'm using my profile and my certain IP addresses. And that's just not the case, because that's not natural. It's totally natural to have somebody from halfway around the world to check out your site, right? And that's what we're saying. So 90% of the time, the majority of the activity that you do on your site, do it from the profile that has a history you're letting Google know about. And then when you start to go, like we say, like I teach, you start to go into the local forums. You start to go to the local forums in your niche, in your city, and you start leaving comments and backlinks that go back. And don't think for a minute. People are already claiming this without even going through the course. We have members going, yeah, but the forum backlinks don't work. And I said, like, well, you haven't even been through the module yet, have you? I showed you like case studies where we look at like lawyer sites, and there's other sites that are ranking #1, and they always have 2 or 3 forums locally. Okay, but they like to get into that group think. They don't want to think too hard. They don't want to think critically and go out and actually do the work. They just want to immediately assume. Anyways, so that's basically how you would do that, Rick. And then as far as setting up your domain name, if you set up your, ideally, it doesn't need to be this way, but ideally, if you're going to go, you're going to go buy a domain at this point, I would do it with your profile. And you don't have to get a separate account. Use your own shared account that you've been using for years. GoDaddy, HostGator, whatever. That's fine. And then I go over in the course where you've got in every single company that sells domains and hosts and sells domains has this option in it. Every one of them. So we're not like being sneaky or anything. They basically have 4 types of billing. They have like a billing address, and there's like 3 others. So like billing information, and they have domain registration, and they have contact information, and they have like a 4th one. I don't know what it is. But anyways, I go over it in the video, and I give an example of changing that to your profile's information, the Gmail account, their phone number, and you can go back and edit that stuff too. It's not a one-time deal. And I show you how to do that in GoDaddy and in Namecheap, and it's, if you're buying it somewhere else, that's fine. Just ask them. It's very common. And the reason that all the registrars have this is because it's very common to have webmasters, just buy your domain. So, it's going off of their billing, and maybe they bought the domain for $9.99, but they're charging their client $20 for it, right? And then, so here's the person who really owns it. Here's my client's information, and here's their contact information, and there's one other one. I forget what it is. But that's it. And then you start building your site out. And then the most that you can, log in with your new profile and your IP address, and just go from there. And always keep your Gmail on, your new Gmail. And then once you start building your site, then you're going to go and start building it out and stuff. Then you're going to want to get a Google Webmaster Tools. At some point about that, you're going to probably start wanting to fill out your Google Plus information, adding some photos and all this kind of stuff. We're just trying to make you look real. It's so easy for Google to tell which sites are just a bunch of baloney and which are not. So, one of the easiest ways they tell is they start creating a backlink profile for each one of each site out there. And if your backlink profile, there's there's many there's many sites out there. They try to rank these things and they've just got like they got like backlinks from like it's like a local site. They got backlinks from like Wikipedia randomly, and then some kind of backlink from a edu site from some Indiana city, and they're located in Miami. Stuff, all this stuff that just doesn't make any sense. And they're getting those backlinks faster than they have. They're getting more of those backlinks than they have visitors to their site. And that's we're SEO is a funny game. It really is a funny game. But anyways, you just we're all just trying to play that game. So we just want to have quality content, right? And we want to give Google every chance to know that we got quality content, so that our choice is going to be one of your top 10 choices for your customers that are looking for our services. Okay, got it. We are focusing on the big picture. Cool. With multiple cities coming in instead of one site at a time. Yes. Even if we charge $8 per lead, the bulk will be add up. Oh yeah, it'll add up huge. I remember when they first came out with the whole when apps first started coming out, and I've been on the internet long enough at that point, and I remember somebody commenting who was they had a regular day job, saying, "Geez, I don't understand how these app people can make any money if they're selling it for 99 cents." There's multi-millionaires being made by selling these apps for 99 cents. So, yes. Okay, how many companies are doing this kind of lead generation for pay-per-call? I have no idea. I really don't. I assume there's some, but I think most. It's just my assumption. I think most people are using pay-per-call, the technology, in local businesses to track marketing costs, because it's one of the most accurate ways to do that. And you can do that with Kallzu too. It's a separate service you can offer with your client. There's a lot of aspects of Kallzu, a lot of you members that you don't have any, you don't even know about yet. That is sitting right there. One is ROI tracking for your customer. If you want to get into that aspect of the business, kind of as a upsell, using the current tools that are in Kallzu right now, you could offer, once they gain trust, you're doing leads on the end of it, you can start to come in and say, hey, for a free trial service, I'll be happy to track your ROI of your other marketing services. Are you doing postcards? Are you doing billboards? Are you doing radio ads or whatever? And you can attach phone numbers to these things, and you can track them in. And on the back end of it, on the white label program, which everyone has a white label program, it's not an upsell, you just have it. You can track in the back of that, and then at the end of the month or whatever, or every couple of weeks, you can see this is how much money they spent, and this is where the money is being spent on here, whether it's their AdWords or whatever, and it can be really an eye-opener for them. Now they really know the exact amount of calls they're getting for each dollar. How much does a call cost them for all of their marketing means? And then that's another back-end thing that we have in Kallzu. Another one which is hugely valuable, and it should be, this will be later on. Everyone right now, we're just kind of like moving along as a group. Not there yet, but it's there in the system already built in, and it's a great upsell. It allows you to track all of the people who answer the phone call for your particular customer. So let's say you've got a dental office, for example, and the dental office has 4 receptionists, ladies up there answering the phone, and you can track each one of those. So you can have like Susie, John, Mary, and Tom, or whatever, and it records all their phone calls. So the manager can go in the back end and see all the phone calls and listen to them, and then you can set up a parameters for scores. How do you define basically a closed call or a successful call? Well, a dental office, it might be setting the appointment to come in, right? For a construction office, like a roofing job, it may be setting the appointment to have someone come out and give a bid. So you have to come up with whatever those parameters are. And then you can give each person who answers the phone a score. And anytime you want to reference and listen to every one of their phone calls within that week or that month, you can say, oh, wow, this person got like, man, they like, whatever, how we measure them, they close like 70% of their calls, whereas everyone else is closing like 30% or less. And look at Tom over here, he's got 10% or less he's closing. You can go back and listen to all of Tom's calls, and you can figure out quickly what the hell's going on. You need to fire Tom or retrain him. And then, Susie, who's closing 70%, you need to learn what she's doing right so you can get the rest of them doing this. And they're clueless about it. Business owners are clueless about this. And you're going to realize this because you're going to be shocked at how many phone calls they don't answer. It's like, what? You're kidding me. This week, out of 10 phone calls, 2 you didn't answer. Every week you're consistent, 2 or 3 you're not answering during business hours. That's 20 to 30% of your business of revenue you're missing out on. At the end of the year, that can be $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. That can be the difference of staying in business or being out of business. And that's why they can log into their back end, and they can log in at any time, the clients, and they can see a graph right there, calls answered, not answered, so on and so forth. And that's why we also have the feature, which is really useful, is that if they ever miss a call, that it's immediately we can assign where it can be text to them. So it can immediately be text to somebody, and they can, oh, you just missed this call like 1 minute ago. Tap here to call back. Okay, can this practice ever get saturated? No. Nope, it can't get saturated. Get that. Throat's getting dry on that. Nope, it can't get saturated, but there's always that fear, right, of anything. I guess the same could be asked right now of, everyone's getting to Amazon, right? And especially last year. The big year of Amazon. Get your Amazon product, get your Amazon store. I hear people right now that are going, oh, oops, not right now. Oh, I hope my audio doesn't mess up with that. Let's hear. Nope, I'm still in the right audio. Okay. So with the saturation point on that, I hear people talk all the time like, oh, Amazon, oh, that's all saturated. Amazon has they're like the largest marketplace, but they've only got like 6% of the whole marketplace of all retail. They haven't even started to grow. And people are already thinking, oh, it's saturated. You know how many local niches there are? Thousands upon thousands upon thousands. And if you've gone through the course, especially Module 1, it's extremely thorough. If you do it properly, it will take you 20 to 30 hours of work to do, which that's what it takes to get started. I show examples in there and ways to do it. You should be uncovering all kinds of niches, getting outside of the, get away from the garage, all the typical stuff, electrician, garage door opener, roofers, all that kind of stuff. Get out of that. Get into something that is outside of the normal group thinking. But even if you stayed inside the group thinking, if you're 100% determined to go out and be the best, then you will. Okay? If you're unstoppable, if you're determined to have the biggest roofing contractor lead gen site in the world, and you're determined to do it, there's nothing that can prevent you from doing it. Okay, I think I got here. Should we wait to build our second city page until after the first one is ranking? Great question. And then build it after the second one is ranking. That's a good question. Thanks for asking that, Justin. Yes, you want to get your first city up and ranking. That's like the most important thing to do, because that's where you build the initial trust. You're getting local backlinks. I'm showing you how to get backlinks from like leaving local comments in local blogs. And people say, "Oh, you can't blog commenting." Well, when you're leaving a comment, if you're a dentist niche and you're leaving a comment on a local, like you're in Houston and you're leaving a comment on a blog in Houston about dentistry, that link counts like a lot. And you start to do that kind of stuff, then and you're not your link velocity. People talk about link velocity, but they leave out the other half of the picture, which is what's your search velocity? Is anyone even searching your site? Oh, I'm back on page 12, but I'm following this perfect link velocity of 3 links per day, but no one's visiting my site. I mean, duh. You think Google doesn't have that in their algorithm? They're changing and improving their algorithm hourly. So yes, you want to rank that first page, that first city up anywhere on page 1. It can be on the bottom of page 1. It can be on the top of page 2, and then now you're going to add your second city and start to grow out like that. And then what you're going to notice, there's going to be this tipping point. I don't know where it's going to be. It's going to be somewhere. Maybe 5 cities, 6 cities. Your one site has 5 or 6 pages ranking on page 1 with a lot of good content. Let me go back and rephrase that. A lot of good content in a second here. Has good quality backlinks to it. It's not about the quantity; it's about the quality, okay, and the relativity of the backlinks. And do you have people searching on your site? Do people searching state on your site? People sometimes people confuse all this kind of SEO information that they hear out there. You have to understand that local SEO is completely different than non-local SEO, and the way that you build and design a site. A lot of times people try to treat a local site like a blog or an information site. It's not, okay? We're not trying to create hundreds and hundreds of pages of useful content for people to come by and read and hang out. That's not it. There are pages that are people all think, oh, my competition's got really thin pages and stuff, and they're ranking number 1. Yeah, of course, because they're giving just the information that they need. They're not giving, they're not adding 800 words posts every other day on here. That's craziness. But if you are in a different type of niche, a non-offline niche, that you had like a, I don't know, a new mother website or something like that, then it's going to be a lot of articles about what it takes to be a new mother, how to prepare for one, blah, blah. I mean, that's kind of sites, an information site. You got a lot of content on that. But we're talking about local sites. The plumber sites don't have a lot of content on it. They're not supposed to. People don't go onto Google. If someone types into Google, how to properly, new mother, how to properly breastfeed or something like that, that's different. People are like actively searching to absorb information. When somebody types in emergency dentist, they're not looking to actively absorb information, right? They're looking for a dentist that does emergency dentistry. They got pain, okay? So just remember that. Is each master site one trade? For example, plumber. Yes. But you can look, and I would encourage you to do this, is look for other, hang on one second. Look for vertical avenues within your niche for future growth. Something that's kind of themed out. Let me think if I can think of a good example. Well, plumber, for example. I'm going to do plumber, and I'm going to do another one too to make sure the point comes home. If you look at plumber, if you do the plumber search properly, I made 2 new videos that goes over exactly this topic in module 1 because it keeps coming up again and again. And that is for plumber, you actually have some different pages. You're going to have one page that you're just going to be ranking just for plumber. And you're going to have another page in Houston, or whatever city you start out, that's going to be just about heating and cooling, air conditioning and heating, HABC or whatever they call it, combined. You might have another page for emergency drain or something like that. So those could be different avenues. Those could be vertical avenues you could grow out. Let me give another example here. If you were to go into, okay, so this would be a possible one. I don't know if this is a good example, but for tattoo removal and hair removal, they use the same machine to do both. So I don't know if this is true or not. I mean, I know that part is true, but I don't know if the second statement is true. But let's assume that it is, that it's the same instrument. It's fairly expensive. It's like a big medical instrument. You're going to be licensed to use it and all this kind of stuff. And it removes tattoos and it removes hair removal. Well, maybe the same office does the same two services. And that, but you certainly can't take, you can just, and I show you in module 1, the last 2 videos that I put in there just in the last 24 hours, I show you how you can tell, could you rank in Houston one page for both hair removal and tattoo removal? And the answer is no. Google will tell you that. And I show you how to ask Google in there. What's another one? So I'm not too happy with those 2 examples that I gave. You were looking for other verticals out there. Okay, so one might be, this is a crummy example, but it'll be the last one. We'll just move on. Is if you're in the roofing niche, it might be natural in the roofing niche to get into the after that another vertical to go out on the same site would be gutter installation, gutter repair. There's actually quite a bit of searches for gutter repair, surprisingly, and obviously rougher is. But that would make sense, and more than likely, maybe not in every single situation, but more than likely, the same guys who do roofing, probably do gutters, right? Because if they're going to do a whole roof, they probably do gutters anyways. And maybe they do gutter cleaning too. So it may be the same clients. It may not, but it will definitely be 2 different pages. You're not going to be able to rank roof repair, roof contractors, and gutter install, and all that kind of stuff. So, not right now. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, good stuff on that. Do I understand clearly? Oh, no. Yeah, you're seeing my screensaver, the mountain cliff in the background, yes. I don't have any more slides up. Did I understand you clearly when you said that when building your sites, don't buy a domain with keywords in it. Don't buy one that's spammy, because you're going to 50+% of the anchor text you send back to your site are going to be the name of your company, the brand. Now, if the branding of the company is your main keyword, it's not going to work. You're going to get penalized. You want to go with brand. Google can spot out a mile away all the SEO guys who got a lead gen site up or whatever, because they all got keyword-rich domains in there. And it's so hard for people to let go of this. We've had people just agonizing over their domains. Like, yeah, but there's this one that's got my keyword in it, and it's a .com. Are you sure? Yeah, we're sure. Don't get it. Go for a brand. Try to come up with a brand that doesn't have your keywords in it, or has one keyword, but you've got a word before and after it, so it doesn't become spammy on it. So yes, try not to get any keywords in your domain. Okay. So let's say you're in the garage door. And let's say for some reason, you had, garagedoorrepair.com was available. Don't buy it. Think of something else. The door doctors, the garage door doctors, the anytime garagedoordoctors.com, something like that. So that when you're backlinking your brand name, it's not a keyword. Okay. Think of like Best Buy. Think of Best Buy. Think of Costco. Think of Roto-Rooter, which is plumbing, right? This is what they want to see. It's going to affect your rankings in a more negative way if you've got a keyword-rich domain. Okay. They used to work. I used to work all day, all night long. They don't anymore. Yes. What I can do is here. One second, I can't type and talk at the same time. Hold on one second. We'll get right back to questions. Let me just put in the support in here too. That's always your best bet. I can usually type that without making any typos. Is the Kallzu theme, the header logo, is linked to the homepage of our first city? Is there an SEO disadvantage if I go into the editor and remove the code and make the logo clickable? No, there's no disadvantage at all. Just be very careful with that. In fact, I would contact our support so that the guy who's full-time on our staff who made that can answer that question more properly. Who knows? You might go in and change it, and it might mess up 5 or 6 other things. So just contact support, and the person who designs that site can let you know. And that's probably the best place to find out. Having a problem breaking down some niches to a service, for example, electricians, should I be promoting an electrical service that has a decent search per month rather than just electricians or electrical? Yeah, that's the $1,000,000 question, right? If I assume, I hope, I know they were kind of long, but I wanted it to give I wanted to give a look over the shoulder feel of what it really takes to do proper keyword research and really what it takes to find these niches. And that's why each of the videos is like 30 minutes long. So I hope, first of all, that you've watched, and there's like, I don't know, there's like 6 or 7 of them. So it's a task, right? But it's the most important one, and that's why that one is that long. So to kind of help you some guidance on this, it's going to come down to the search volume on here, and then make sure you watch the last 2 videos, because what happened is that when people were doing, some people, not all, but I noticed that some people, they were just focusing only on the data. Okay, so this has this search volume, this has this cost per click, so it must be a good one. Well, now let's step outside of the data and let's go check out, let's do some field work. Let's start actually typing in those keywords into Google, and let's start looking at 5 or 6 of the websites that are on those pages in 10 different cities. And let's start to kind of get to know that niche a bit. What are all the consistencies on these websites on here? You need to do that aspect. That's one of the most important aspects of it on here. So if you're doing this, if these are the electricians that you're promoting, it's a service. I'm more preference to, although you can make the other happen, I would encourage you to look for services that people want and need, obviously, and services where the service provider goes to the customer. It doesn't have to be that way, but it does eliminate some other potential headaches that could come up. If you have any questions about that with the keyword research, just um, if you're like, yeah, I mean, if you've done your homework, because we're not going to do the work for you, obviously, but if you've really done your homework, you've gone through the training, and you're just like totally stumped, but I mean, you don't have a blank sheet, okay? You've done some work, and you've got some questions about that. Are you on the right track or whatnot? Um, Feel free to contact the support, and we can take a look at your exact examples and give you some guidance about if you're headed down the wrong direction, or maybe you should steer over to the left a little bit. Is there a discount for existing pay-per-call Ninja members? Yes, there is. Just contact support; they will get it to you. Also, on the sales page, you talked about private blog networks. Do you give us domains to register them? And the last question: can we use other services for call tracking? You certainly can, but you may want to check out ours. It's not the original one that you maybe got. It's completely different, but you can. Um, but yes, so we are providing. Because my whole goal on here is that I want to make sure that people have every single freaking opportunity to succeed at this. Even though some won't, just because of laziness, they get distracted, another shiny object or whatever. So there's no that I can't help. But the people who are willing to put in the effort, I want to make sure they're getting every darn opportunity. So as part of that, the whole the whole SEO thing gets people. So I said, how do we ensure that everybody has got the absolute best killer chance of making this work from the SEO perspective? And they do it like this. They get the local backlinks, like I train them there, and then your next best backlinks after that are going to be Web 2.0 properties, LiveJournal, Tumblr, Blogger, and there's some others out there. My team, we've got the system down. We're always scraping and pulling them down, the ones that have high trust. What's nice about them is they already got existing trust. They got a nice trust flow. We like at least a 10 or above. They don't have spammy links or anything like that. They rarely ever do. If we do, we don't mess with them. There's no hosting. You don't have to pay for hosting. And they're easy to manage and stuff. And they're really easy to repurpose into another theme. So we like those. So what we're doing is that for people who are ready for it, in other words, you've got your website up, you've followed the guidelines as a good quality site, you're using some of the crowd search. We highly recommend it. Just makes so much sense to do. You've got some local backlinks come in, like I teach. Now it's time to get a little bit more higher firepower, and we'll show you how to build out these sites. You don't have to do a whole lot of work to it, but it's all about quality these days, folks. All about quality. So you've got you've got a quality, good, so say trust flow of 15, and maybe a citation of 10 to 20, something close to what the trust flow is, and some good backlink profile. And then you can repurpose it and add, to make it into a different theme that would more match your niche. And so you would take one of those backlinks and send it over to your site. But then what do you want to do? You want to build a whole nother one? Even though we're giving you the site, we're not charging for it, we're just giving it to you. So you want to build out another one just to get a second backlink? No, it makes a lot more sense within the group. Now, you don't have to do this, but this is what we're encouraging people to do. Is that there's going to be other members that are going to be given these Web 2.0 sites, and if you can do some link exchanges with them. Hey, I'll send a backlink to your site. You give me the 300 to 400 original article, and I'll send a backlink from my, my Tumblr site to your, whatever URL you want, and you do the same for me, you know, and you limit those to about 5 to 8 max. Okay, so it doesn't look like a link farm, and you have some other backlinks going out to other places, not just local websites. Um, you're going to be fine. Okay, and then we show you how to keep those up, which is very easy to do. And then as far as the domains go for the private blog network, now private blog networks is a huge business, especially after what Google did. So like for people going out and buying them and stuff is huge business. There's people that's all they do for a living. And so if you've shopped around for private blog networks, it can be very time consuming. And very tough to find good ones. And so we've got a system in place where our systems automate, and they actually find expired domains, not expired. People just gave them up, and now they're for sale again at any place that sells domains for whatever price a .com costs. A .com at Namecheap cost $7.99. They got a special on it. Then you can go buy it for $7.99. You don't got to pay any other fees, and we'll give you those lists on that so that you can go out and do that. Now, we're going to control this so that we don't want people abusing this, because someone could be thinking, oh, they could be in the small mentality, thinking that, oh, I could pick up a whole bunch of these Web 2.0s and a whole bunch of these just at cost quality sites, and I could go sell them myself. That short-term thing. We're not stupid. We want this to benefit the community, and so that we all rise together on that end of it. So, but yes, that's what we're doing. When does this start? It starts when you finish module 1 through 6. Okay, it's not going to take. It's not going to be easy to finish module 1 through 6. Because we're not building push button get rich schemes here. You're building a long-term kind of thing, and you've got to have a good quality site. And as we teach, you got to have a good niche picked out, all that kind of stuff. You have your local backlinks. You got to be doing this from your local IP address, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so no one to date, and we just started, but no one to date is there. Most people that are leading the pack right now, as we've gone through this group together, is normally right now they've just completed their site, and that, I mean, for their first city. So that's their homepage, that's their disclaimers, that's their contact us, that is their 5 or 7 service posts, we call them. And now they're just getting in the process of getting the Google Webmaster and getting it indexed. And now they're going to do a combination of the crowd searching, where they have real people from their local IP addresses searching for their website, where they're getting local backlinks. Okay. The Google Plus soon, very soon. Do you recommend that the business page and the places page, or just one? On that end of it. Well, in the beginning, you're going to do the business page, but weighing on that, you have a lot of other stuff you can be doing right now, which you should have your Gmail account, you should have your site completely built out, and if really the next step at that point is that you should be getting some local backlinks as taught in the course, and then slowly start to get some basically fake searches for your site from crowdsource. That would be your best bet at this point. When posting on forums sites, should we not post on topics that are old and keep finding relative topics, but most are a couple years old? That's okay. It doesn't matter. What you want to do, and I teach that in the course there, is that the most important thing is that, man, if you've got a site that is local and within your niche, that's fantastic. And all those forums have do follow backlinks, which is even better. And most of the forums too, as I showed in the training, have all, I mean, the root domains usually have a really good high trust, like 30, 40, and 50s. They're really up there. Um, you can post in some older posts. That's fine because you're going to want to save that link on your Excel sheet. You're going to want to save that link, and you're going to want to get that link crawled so that it can get indexed. Um, but if you wanted to, you could start in that thread, and you could start a new topic yourself, and that would be fresh and new, right? And as long as you're not spammy about it, and your niche is in the automotive niche, and this is an automotive niche that you're in about cars, and in your signature down below in your post, you got something about your car site or something. It's all natural. It's totally fine, and then you can start a discussion right there, and that's going to be fantastic. That's really going to get you some good backlinks to your site. What happened to the series of 5 to 10 webinars about your business? I wanted to attend them all live on that end of it. If you contact my support, I'll make sure that you get those. And we just put the support in here, just ask for them. Out. Okay, oops, there we go. If I was working in the roofing niche, would Roofing Crew USA be an okay domain? I would say, yeah, that sounds like a branding name, right? And if you sent 50 backlinks to your site that was Roofing Crew USA, that's not a keyword, right? So you're totally cool with that. You got the right idea. Are you using crowdsearch.me for that? Yes. Yeah, that's what we use, the crowdsearch.me on that. I love it because Tom there, who owns it, just recently, I think it was 4 or 5 months ago, got the local IP addresses. I don't know how the hell he did it, but we've been testing those out. Those are really powerful. Yeah, it's crazy. Could you show the questions on your screen so we can see them? I can't because the way that GoToWebinar is designed, at least as I understand it, is that when I have the question box open, it doesn't show on your screen. It just shows on mine because I think the way it's set up is they just want you to see like a slideshow or something behind. So unless you got a solution for that, I don't know how to do it. Is the PayPal Ninja course outdated? It is. It's back in 2013. So in the internet era, we're now in 2016. A lot has changed. And the Kallzu biz has replaced the pay-per-call. Yes, well, it has. Should our first round of backlinks be citations or 1 to 2 links from local links and some citations at the same time? I would probably, I think either or would be fine because you're not going to be going crazy with it. None of those are like crazy unnatural stuff. But to be on the safe side, I just go for the citations first. After citations, and with your citations are a double-edged sword. Okay, citations are designed. The reason they put up those sites is because they want to call you. Now we have a shared blacklist in Kallzu. So if one of my agents, we see a obvious citation or solicitor calling one of our numbers, we put it automatically goes in the blacklist, which goes in the whole pool. So it also goes on your blacklist. So we're pretty good at. You're not going to get a whole lot of stuff, but man, those telemarketers, they keep changing their numbers too. So they're kind of tough to get rid of, but you're at least going to get at least a 70% reduction in the amount of calls initially. And then what's nice about it is that if when you blacklist one, then everyone gets the benefit of that, and likewise. So with the citations, I would just be going for I would search your main keywords in your city you're starting in, and I would look at the first 2 pages of results, and I would take notes of the citations that are there. And as long as they're non-paid citations, I would do all the free ones. Those would be the ones you want to start with, because obviously Google likes them. That's why they're showing them. And then I'll post up how we do our citations. And then, because we don't fall into that trap of, you know, well, there's 75 citations out there. You got to get them all, or 50 of them. And no way. That's ridiculous. 80% of them will never even get indexed, but 100% of them will get your phone number and they'll start calling you forever, and your email. So no, we go for the ones that are ranking on page 1, and then 5 to 10 at the most of the others that have do follow links, and that's it. You can just get away with doing 5. If you do 5, you do 5 well, and then you choose one to start backlinking your profile in, then you're gonna have another property on page 1. You don't need to be going for 40 or 50. The Kallzu.biz was released about a month ago. If the Gmail name is not available, could you use a Gmail address like info? Yeah, you could do like info 24-hour dentist. Just try to get your brand name in there. You know, if it's a really good brand name, you're probably not going to get it, so you just try to get as close as you can. The idea is that just, someone could tell, like, hey, this guy's or gal's pretty proud of the business. They got a Gmail account that's, it's obviously trying to sound like the business. That you're just trying to have congruency. If the cost per click is, say, $34, why wouldn't the business owners just do the Google ads themselves? A great question. Why would they need lead gen services? And I find it more logical. You're being logical at this point. People are not logical. Okay. I find it more logical that lead gen is very attractive to biz owners when the cost per click is high, say $20. Okay. This is reality, basically, and the reality is that most business owners can't even figure out the way that their website should be. Doesn't have a good call of action, the kind of information they should have on it. The majority of business owners don't know anything about the importance of reviews, how to even claim their Google Maps area. And now we're talking about paid advertising. And if you've ever gone to the back of Google AdWords for the first time, especially if you're not in the internet, you're in the automotive business or whatever, it looks like Chinese. Okay. And there's no one to call. you know, um, how do you do a good landing page? How do you track these things? How do you split test them? They don't know. Man, I could pull up. Let's see. I'll pull up an example right now so you guys can look at my screen here. Let's do anything. I don't know. Pick out any niche. It doesn't matter. I'll show you what I mean. Let's do emergency plumbing, Houston. Okay, and I do not want to charge these guys, so let's see if I can do it this way. I don't want to charge them for this. I'm just going to try to copy and paste the URL. Sometimes it doesn't work. So what I want to do is I just want to show you how stupid these are. This wasn't it. Here, kill me for that. Okay, so this is a pretty decent type. They're number 1 on here. Right away, they got 50% off plumbing, 24 emergency service, trusted technicians, always on time. It's like boom, boom, boom. Very authoritative. And that's it. Straight up. Pretty thin site on the end of it, but it gets to the point. All the information is above the fold. So that's a pretty good, that's a good one. Let me see if I can do this one without. Those guys are probably paying 20, 30 bucks a piece. Let's see if this one pulls anything up. All right. In the name of science, I have to click it. And I don't know why that's taken so long to go. Let's go. Okay, so here's one on this end of it. So this is for emergency plumbing, right? Look what I'm looking at right now. This is not, does that shower scream emergency to you? No. Is there anything that even like emergency plumbing, anything right now that I'm seeing that's really getting to it? It's not anything like that one site on here. Yeah, some real weak call to actions on this end of it. This is probably their actual site rather than a landing page on this end of it. But you notice the difference between the other one and this one, right? Let's look at one more. Ah, yeah, okay. This is this is it right here. This is their advertisement right here. They're paying whatever $20, $30 a click for that. Okay, so really, really horrible stuff on that. Yeah. Anyways, that's probably. I hope I made my point there. We could go on for that. But what I found is that 100%, well, 98%, 95% of the ads that are out there on Google AdWords could use a drastic improvement. And I would say that probably 1% do regular split testing to keep improving their score and to keep people longer on their site and to get a higher click-through rate. Most companies just don't do that because A, they don't have the time to do it. You have to really be an expert at it. So you can't be an expert at plumbing and AdWords. Not in this day and age you can. There's no way. And do all the split testing that's necessary to do that. So no, most businesses are not going to do that. They don't even know how to check what the cost is on that. So, anyways, I have been running a backup recording. Well, hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Are we only aiming at ranking the city pages? What about the service posts? Nope, no reason to do the service post on that. But we will send 20% of our backlinks to our service posts, which is the way we'd interlink our service posts to the rest of our site. It spreads the link juice around. But there's no reason to do the service post because the service post shouldn't be keywords that you want to rank for. I mean, they might have 20, Google might come back with 10 or 20 searches maybe for that particular service, but really not worth trying to rank for. Okay, so what do we got here? I got questions about plumbers, plumbers.Austin, plumbers.Dallas, Omaha, Seattle. Yes. Siding contractors doing gutter. That's a great vertical market to get into. Siding contractors doing gutters, maybe doing roofers, maybe doing installation. I don't know, but yeah, that's it. That's what you want to That's what you want to. That's what you want to look for within your niche, which a lot of people don't. They don't even think about it. But you want to think about it as you're growing. Is there another vertical that maybe some of the same businesses or clients that I have taking my leads, would some of them also do this other very similar type of niche, but completely different niche? It's a good one. Stupid question. Nope, never any stupid questions. So I've never noticed the URL like niche.city listed in Google Maps. Oh yeah, it's 100% possible on that. I know it. And all the time. Whoops. Patrick, yes. You're asking what the cost, yes. I'm a local market, so this is interesting to me. Good. Glad Patrick's finding it interesting. We're glad you're still around. Okay, I'll contact your support. Okay, no problem. Looking forward to getting access to your site and your software. It's available right now. Just contact our support, Justin. Off topic. Okay, so off topic. Let me just say here. Yeah, well, I don't know. Where do you buy local IP addresses? I have that in the course. If you're not a member there, what is it? It's I forget because I'm not the one who uses it. I have other people who do. I think it's proxy. I forget. You can contact your support. No, they would know. You're welcome. The chat box, I've seen people just do the screenshot and then open it in Paint or whatever. Oh, that's a good idea, John. I'll do that next time. We're going to start wrapping this up here. Some people use Snagit. Yep, that's good. I mean, Jing. Yep, those are great suggestions. I'll do that next time. In Facebook, you said videos about citations would be in the members area. I don't see it. Videos about citations is not. I've added some additional videos just in the last 2 days. Two, they're both about half an hour. It's just kind of more fine tuning about doing the field research for your particular niche. And then a lot of people have questions about, well, I have this, I have these 10 keywords. Those 10 keywords are in my niche, but can I rank all these 10 keywords with just one page, or do I need 2 or 3 separate pages to do it? So I made a video showing you exactly how you can determine that. Google will tell you, and I show you how to do that. And then the most recent one I just did, I think last night, which I want to talk about real quickly here if there's anyone else still on the call. Oh, there's plenty of people on the call. It's about the Gmail. My company's only in a couple of niches, so we haven't had this. It's not like we're spending every day creating these phone verified kind of branded Gmail accounts on that. We basically have 2, well, actually 3, and that's it. But before we relaunched this, I had my team go out. I said, go out and use the same method we used to do. So you just go out and see if you can get some phone verified Gmail accounts. And they came back and they did 10. They were like, no problem, we'll do it. So I was like, cool, okay, then we know the method still works. And then some people were able to do it the way we did it, and others weren't. And I thought, well, maybe we're just not following the same steps. So I made 3 or 4 over my shoulder, one right after the other, with a fresh IP address, just one right there, boom, boom, of getting a Gmail account, getting that phone verified. Phone comes in, the text code comes right into the Kallzu software, and you're done every time. So I figured, well, maybe people aren't clearing out the cache or something like that. I still don't know. So one of our members on that end of it, Mr. Morris, shared his solution. Someone recently did it with success. We're going to test it too. So maybe that would be the new way that we do it. And basically what he came up with is we still follow the same steps we do. He does it is we get our new profile, Firefox profile. You get your local IP addresses. You go into whoiser.net. You make sure you're 100% anonymous, right? As a second backup, you just kind of type in, what is my IP address to make sure that it is indeed the same one that's on the location you're in. You clean out your cache and cookies, you're all cool. You're totally cool at that point. Now you sign up for a Gmail account, but what he does that's different than us is that he does not enter in a phone number. He fills out all the information. Google's fine with it, plays around with it for a little bit, and then he goes in after he's got the account. Then he enters in his Kallzu number, which now you're going to keep for life with that. He entered in that Kallzu, and he's going to end up verified, no problem. And then someone else just did it today. They shared on the Facebook. So no, that's awesome. So that's how we're doing it. The way that the video that I made last night was because I want to come up with a solution for everybody. One of the solutions I thought was, I found a source for aged domains. Aged Gmail accounts, and I made a video about it. But I just felt it wasn't the best. I think it's so important to have a really good one because that's kind of the sticky glue that kind of glues everything together. If you screw up on your Gmail account, then your webmaster and your YouTube channel and stuff, all that kind of falls apart because it's all connected, right? So for people who were not able to get they were able to get the Gmail account, but they were not able to get the phone verification, then I offer that my team will log in using their IP address. We'll build a fresh, brand new profile, so everything's clean there. We'll follow the footsteps, and then we'll put in numbers from our own account, and once we get it to verify, then we'll port over the number to you. Kind of a long way. I like Mr. Morris's method a lot better. So, but we've got options there, and we're going to get it figured out. And I think we're getting closer and closer to the answer. They're obviously popping up there. So that's about all I wanted to say with that. If you want to find out more about it, look in Module 2, the last couple of videos there, and then some of the most recent post in the Facebook group. The Facebook group, by the way, is really turning out to be awesome. I really like the members. A lot of participation. There's a lot of good discussion. People are learning not to post like a super techie question that should probably only go to our support team, but a question that the answers would benefit the group as a whole. And we're getting a lot of good feedback and discussions. It's what a group should be like, basically. So it's turning out to be really good. Yeah, Patrick, I'll get that over to you right now. Okay, cool. Let's keep it rolling here. Thank you very much. It says, Chris, I'm a member and your videos are incredible. I'm still working to get my head around everything, but your training and information is packed and fantastic. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I enjoy teaching. That's what I enjoy teaching, and I enjoy the topic, so I like to talk about the topic with it. Okay, let's see here. Let's try that again, Patrick. Patrick, if you, I'm going to give you my support. It's fully staffed and very helpful, and that would be your best bet. And they'll send you the correct link. I probably just can't type on that. So let's get here. Okay, cool. Keith is asking, what is the Firefox profile that you're talking about? It's a strategy that we started using. When you really start thinking about this whole SEO game, especially with local, and there is no black hat and white hat SEO. It's all manipulating the system, and so we came up with one of the strategies that we do is that let's say for example that you're going to be opening up your first, you've gone through the course, you've figured out the niche, you've taken me up on the offer to have me look over your top three and just give you my feedback. I can't pick it for you, but I can give you some insight to help you maybe make a better decision. And certainly point out any red flags you may not have noticed. But then, whatever city you're going to start in first with your niche, you want to have a separate Firefox profile that you only use for your niche person, and your niche person has a IP address that's local in that city. And it just starts to make a lot of sense to Google. It's like, okay, this profile is always hanging around his plumber site. He's got a plumber Gmail type account. He's got we got all his stats with our webmaster tool. He's hanging around some plumber home and garden type forums in Houston. Yeah, this looks pretty legit. Versus, and then also add into it the crowdsourcing where you've got some local Houston real people looking for his site and hanging out on his site, and then they don't go anywhere else, so that must have been the solution. And Google's like, man, this guy's really on the money. We like this. Versus, you got an IP address from, I don't know, instead of Houston, Texas, you got it from San Diego all the time. And the same profile is also going to the Warrior Forum, and the same profile is also going to all these private blog network forums. Google tracks everything, so don't think for a minute that they don't. They track every single thing. I mean, I got plugins now on my phone. I can track my entire family anytime I want on a free plugin on my iPhones. So I had to come back early from Vietnam, so I could at any time, 24 hours a day, I just go and press it, and I go boop. I can see my kids walking around. Okay, if I can do that on the phone on here, what do you think Google does? They track everything, every single step you take. So the profile you want is, you don't want a profile that looks like an SEO person. You want a profile that looks like your local plumber. Okay, I hope that makes sense. When we did that, it just, it's not the end all of the bee's knee or whatever they call it, but it's congruent. Everything's congruent. Okay. And it's really important, especially if you want to go for the Google Maps. Really important. You have to re-verify your YouTube account to do live stream. Yes. And you can only use the same phone number 2 times per Google account. Each channel you set up will need to be verified again. We don't do live stream, but I mean, I clearly understand the SEO benefits of doing those. We don't do any of that. You can certainly rank just a plain old video, and you can open up a YouTube channel without doing a phone verification, unless you want to do like a 30 or 1 hour a minute upload on that end of it. So. Patrick, Patrick, contact our support, dude. They'll take care of you, buddy. I promise. Where are the Web 2.0s you can scrape? That's kind of proprietary information there, Phil. I have a whole staff of 34, okay, that runs my company, and I have a whole department that does nothing but scraping for our Web 2.0 so that we can, build our own backlinks on that, and then for the whole deal with the private blog networks, we just got so tired of just so much effort to get decent ones. I mean, it's just like so. We've got a software system that basically will come in. It runs a lot of bandwidth, but it's good. We go out to authority sites, like big, huge authority sites, and then our system just goes in and just starts cranking through there and following every one of their links out. and then it finds the links that end nowhere, and then it follows those back and finds out if they're for sale. Not for sale by another private blog network dealer or something like that. No, are they just like regularly for sale at HostGator or GoDaddy or whatever? Not expired, none of that. Just are they just like regularly for sale? Thank you, thank you, thank you, Rich. Question. Is the link? Is that the link? Yes. No. Contact our support. They'll take care of you. Cool. All right, that's it. Yep, we've rambled on a lot, so hopefully we've had some value today. And just question your group thinking. Get out of that group think. It's everywhere. It's in marketing. It's in your neighbor's house. It creates your reality. And school encourages group think. Everyone to think the same and act the same and stuff. And you just don't want to do that. You're going to lead a much more fulfilling life if you can think independently. And one of the best ways to do that is to start reading regularly. Take out 20, 30 minutes a day minimum, usually first thing in the morning. Just crack open a book, something, and read. Fill your brain with something else. And it's Chris Winters. Never accept yourself as a finished product. Talk to you on the next webinar. Bye-bye.